Ladies and gents, welcome back. My name's James, and today I want to take the opportunity of this video to talk about the issues of quick play in Marvel Rivals. Now, for those of you who don't know how the system works with ranked in Rivals, you can't play the ranked game mode with or against console players, which I completely understand the reason why. There's a huge mechanical skill difference when compared with a mouse input to a controller. If you imagine with a mouse you can use your whole arm to aim compared to just your thumb with a controller. That then just leaves those of us who play with friends on those systems to only play quick play, which is fine and it is fun for the most part. The issue comes from the dissonance with how the matchmaking works in the ranked mode to how it appears to work in quick play. NetEase have recently posted a video describing in depth how their system works, how they calculate the points gained and lost in each match, and how they prioritise who you play against and how long you have to wait to get into those matches. It is my opinion, again, from what I've seen for our own games that I play with friends on different consoles, that this system just isn't used in quick play, and it does feel that EOMM, engagement optimised matchmaking, is active in some way in this playlist. We normally play around 10 matches a session, and we'll more often than not win maybe half, but most of the time it's less than half. Call it a skill issue, that's fine, but whenever I queue ranked with my duo, we tend to win a lot more of the matches than we lose. I think that's because a lot of the time people, when they're playing ranks, they want to win more, they're going to be playing their mains more, which is fine. And for the most part, when we've been playing these games, we're either dominating the other team or we're getting dominated by the enemy team. It seems to be the games we get dominated by, it's very high ranked players, Celestial 3s, GMs, that are using their high-ranked main lord characters. And while it is a valid way of playing this game mode for people who may just be warming up their aim for a ranked session, those players may get paired with players who may just be wanting to play their favourite character, they're new to the game in general, or they're new to that specific character. And if you're diving straight into quick play as a new character and you get played against these players, that's not a very satisfying way to use your time for the casual player. And I think the reason why it's both, so you either dominate or get dominated, is because NetEase wants to keep those sort of new or lower skilled players engaged by almost giving them these wins to a certain level. And it makes a lot of sense from a business perspective. If you're trying the game out, you see the Marvel name, you've watched the films, read the comics, you have this emotional attachment to these characters, you're more incentivized to put time in, buy battle passes, buy skins. If you feel like you're doing a good job, you're winning matches, stuff like that, it just seems like the system itself is dictating that rather than yourself. The problem that I find is you have to be performing as a team to a certain standard to get wins. As someone myself, I put countless hours into games like Dota 2, Counter-Strike, TF2, and in games like Counter-Strike you can carry to a certain extent with just your individual performance and aim. If there's someone on your team who is new, who's having an off match, an off day, their aim isn't quite good, you can carry those games if you're good enough. The issue is with other games like Dota 2, TF2 and Rivals, is that if just one player in your team, like a big machine, if one cog in that machine isn't performing well, the whole sort of production stops and you lose. That player, they get flamed for throwing the game. They get flamed, and the more they get flamed, the less they want to play it. They get disheartened, and that's not fun for anyone. That's not fun for the player who's maybe not performing as well. It's not fun for the team who are losing because of this player, and it's not really fun for the team that are just getting this free win. Now, you may be asking at this point, well, what's the issue? It's only quick play. It's meant to be casual, where the rules don't matter. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. And if you want the competitive experience, then go play ranked. But I just believe this goes against the whole point of the game, which is teaming up with friends, you know, playing as a team, playing together and having fun. Whether you're doing ranked as a solo or a duo, this just doesn't happen. As I'm sure if you've played this game enough, you'll realise that the community is just toxic. So they either don't communicate, or if they do, they're raging in all chat, they're raging in team chat, they've got their mic just constantly on, they're watching TikToks in the background. It's just not a very nice experience, and I feel like these games really shine when you've got a nice group of friends, you're playing for a good few hours, and everyone's, you know, playing their roles that they're and the heroes that they like, and they're playing well as a team. I feel like whether they do this change in allowing, because again, the consoles and PC can't do ranked together, whether it's with official modes or hidden systems, there needs to be more in place with keeping new players together and casual players together, and the more experienced players, i.e. people have put more than, I don't know, say, I mean, for example, I've put over 800 hours, a lot of my friends have put 5, 6, 7, 800 hours into the game. There needs to be more of a gap between players like us and players that only play casually, or they're very brand new to the game. There have been many games where we have very new players on a team that are level 8, 9, 10s, that we're sort of expected by the game to carry them to a win, which again, that would be absolutely fine if the opposing team also had people like that of similar skill on their team. But it just doesn't happen. We get, you know, paired with teams where about 3 or 4 of them are Celestial 3. And bear in mind, us as a trio, our average rank is around Gold and Plat, because, again, we don't play ranked anymore, because if we're playing ranked, it's leaving 1 or 2 people out, where we want to just all be playing together. And I don't know if any of you have played FIFA in the past. You will have experienced something similar where it seems like a lot of the matches you play online have like a predetermined outcome. And those of you that have played FIFA where, you know, you're 2, 3 goals up and it reaches the 90th minute, and all of a sudden your defenders have forgotten how to run, your goalkeeper's forgotten how to, you know, catch a ball, things like that, and all of a sudden, you know, the guy you're playing against has put 2, 3 goals past you in the space of about 10 seconds. And whether that's a skill issue on my end or not, it's more that you can sort of feel this happen before the goals start coming in. You can feel your team playing different and playing sluggish, as if some sort of switch has just turned on, saying, almost like the game, and this is my conspiracy theory, where the game's like, no, this person needs to get this win for whatever reason, because they need to buy more packs or however it works. The reason I'm talking about FIFA, and this is a Marvel Rivals video, is because quick play feels very similar, where it's almost as if NetEase wants to give certain players wins to keep them from logging off, or to keep them from getting too tilted or disheartened, to, you know, keep them engaged with the game and keep them wanting to play the game. So in turn, they buy more battle passes, they buy more skins, stuff like that. This is all just my conspiracy theory tinfoil hat thing, and it just seems to be the sort of players we get paired against and paired with sort of enforce this theory. And don't get me wrong, you know, there's plenty of games that we've had where the teams are very even and it's very winnable, some of these games. The issue therein lies, because it's quick play and it's not ranked, a lot of the times if we've got maybe one player on our team who isn't doing well, they then start to throw the game because they're not having a great time, and they turn around and say, oh, well, it's just quick play. It's just quick play. There's no point in trying because it's quick play. There's no point in getting upset because it's quick play. And that I personally disagree with. There are plenty of casual modes in Rivals. There's a PvE mode that's actually really great, the zombie mode. There's an 18v18, where it's less about working as a team. There's also, against, playing against AI. There's these social modes like the Doom match in Times Square for people to just chill. I feel like if you're queuing into quick play, it's because you want to play the game as it's supposedly meant to be played with a team and trying to win. And I feel like it's just an excuse that people fall back to. And again, I feel like this isn't people's fault, it's just the casual nature of the game itself. With the Marvel brand, a lot of players don't come to the game for a competitive experience or an esports experience. They come to the game because they want to play their favourite characters, and that's absolutely fine. My solution again will be to keep the new players in the separate pool until they reach a certain level of hours. There's many other competitive esports titles that do this already. Again, Counter-Strike, Dota, and even Rainbow Six Siege. You have to commit a certain level of hours before you can do ranked, and also before you can, go into the normal pool of players that have been playing the game a while. The other solution, if that isn't the case, or if I'm just making all this up, is just allow people to opt in to crossplay ranked. If you allow people to opt in, whether it's the same pool or whether it's the same mode, or you have to make a different game mode, if everyone's opting in to that experience, then there should be no issues. I do agree there is a mechanical skill difference between a mouse and controller, but that isn't the deciding factor on whether you win or lose as a team. The other side of playing the game is the game sense, and if your team has a better game sense, your team knows how to use abilities at certain times, ultimates, what the counters are, counter picks, ban picks. If you're very versed in the game, your mechanical skill becomes less and less a factor, as playing as a team is way more effective in my opinion. The opt-in system, people know what they're signing up for, so they aren't subjective to playing the game, with their friends only in the casual mode, and then get flamed when, you're actually trying to win with your friends and have fun. And then that will then turn quick play into what it should be, which is a casual mode for casual players who want to just try, maybe a new hero that's just come out, or a hero that they want to try and learn. But it's arguably a sweatier experience than Ranks is, because again, in quick play you're not getting matched with players of your skill level. It's just like a potluck. So if you're against 3 Celestial free players, you're having to play harder than arguably you would in a ranked playlist anyway, because it's just random. And I just think they've neglected those of us who want this competitive experience but can't because someone's playing on a different platform. And whether or not that means you have to then change, if you don't want to do full crossplay ranked, change it to an input-based system where everyone has to be on a mouse and keyboard, or everyone has to be on a controller. I think even if they included that as a compromise, I think that works. But it's also whether or not NetEase, recognises that this is an issue or not, or just wants to keep the game as casual as it can. And those who really want to grind the game out, they have to only play with people on the same platforms. But I feel like the current matchmaking system, the way it is, I feel like it's just going to drive people more and more away from the game. And again, as someone who's played a lot of competitive games in his life, it just feels very different to those other games, especially games like Overwatch and like TF2, like Counter-Strike, where it seems like the priorities of the devs don't always match up with the priorities of the players who want that competitive experience. And I feel like this is why a lot of the player base has left already, is because it just feels like no matter how well you do or don't do, because of how differently the matches are made, in terms of skill level. It's almost like you can't really change the outcome. If you've got 1 or 2 players that are either throwing the game or they genuinely don't know what they're doing in that game, it's just you just can't win. You can't carry your team to win. But anyway, that's a lot of waffling about an issue that may only affect a few people, or may only affect me, and I'm the only one that is moaning about it. I do like and enjoy the game, and I like that people can play the game mostly however they want. It's just this one issue of, again, I'd like to have a fully competitive experience with my friends, and I don't think they should be penalised because they want to just play on a console, and they shouldn't have to go out and buy a PC or, buy like a Steam machine if that's coming out, just so they can play a ranked game mode with people. I think the fact that it is crossplay is amazing, and that they're slowly going to add cross progression if it's not already out. I think it's a brilliant change in gaming in general. But let me know what you guys think. Am I being super dramatic? Am I a big baby? Should I just man up and, if I want to do ranked, play it solo? Should there be a separate system for ranked? Or is it all fine the way it is and I'm just overreacting? Just let me know in the comments. If you like this style of video, let me know by liking the video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I've been James, and thank you for watching.